Welcome into the Michigan Football Report. Got a six-pack of Michigan football rumors as we are now weeks away from the fall, from 2019 fall camp getting started, and a month and a half or so away from the season getting started against Middle Tennessee State. Let's get into a question to start today's show, because I want to know from you guys who's watching at home, who's listening to the radio, but most importantly, who's going to a game this year, who's going to be in the big house, or I guess going to a road game, going to catch the Wolverines in Madison, Wisconsin, going to catch them in Happy Valley, Pennsylvania. I almost said Tennessee there. Type Y if you're heading to a game. Type for yes. Type N if no. Can't make it to a game in the big house this year. If it's no, I want to hear some good excuses. Maybe you just don't like watching there. You think your big screen TV is better. Reasonable thing to do. Type yes if you are going, and name the games you're going to, because maybe they'll be the same ones that I am going to. Thank you for watching today's program here, likely on YouTube. It's where a majority of our audience is coming these days. So I want to ask you guys to go ahead and subscribe if you have not already. I know most of you have, but for those of you who haven't, YouTube subscribe doesn't come natural like following somebody on Twitter. So hit that subscribe button so you never miss a show. And if you do, you have a chance, and leave some cool comments. You have a chance to be one of these 5 folks here. We're gonna give shout outs to, I think, the people that I enjoy engaging with most on Instagram, on Twitter, and here on YouTube. These are their Twitter handles: Matt Todd at Toddsnader15, James Mays. Been interacting with this guy, James. Great name, by the way. Crazy May 66, Anthony Iardella. Thanks so much for the support, Anthony. Thanks so much for watching the show. Lucas Wright. I mean, you got to check out this guy's Twitter handle, Instagram account. He's an ass kicker, let me tell you that. Don't mess around with Lucas Wright. Really enjoy getting to know him. And then Dre_Fame at DreadheadFame. Thanks so much for the support. Thanks for always asking good questions, Dre. Certainly appreciate talking to you on Twitter and on YouTube as well. So let's keep it going. Get into the six-pack of Michigan football rumors. This is a question that I don't want to be misconstrued out here, because I'm trying to give it to you guys straight, okay? I'm not sugarcoating anything. I'm not waiting until it's given out a press release by Detective Dave to announce news or anything like that. I put out sources, I talk to things, so don't hold me to this one that it could happen. I wanted this to be clear. DPJ, Nico Collins, Tarik Black in 2020 draft. I'm giving you 3 Harbaugh heads. That is pretty likely. Not necessarily that they all will, because no one can predict the future. But as of now, they have all expressed their intent to. They are, whether it's to their coaches, to their families, I'm not going to get into those details yet. But there is an intent from all 3 of these third-year players, all part of the 2017 recruiting class, who are coming in, true junior season for People-Jones, redshirt sophomore year for Tarik Black and Nico Collins. 3 Harbaugh heads. These men will make up a very, very talented group of Michigan football wide receivers. Your 3 starters. I don't know how their offense is always going to look, whether they'll always be in 4 wide receiver set. If not, I think People-Jones will get a lot of carry, or a lot of play inside. Let the bigger body Tarik Black and Nico Collins go on the outside. And if People-Jones is in the slot, is outside, no matter where, here are the stat predictions, NFL level stat predictions for a third-year player that I have got for him in the 2019 seasons for Donovan People-Jones. About 70 catches, a little over 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns, averaging around 15 yards per catch. Nico Collins is the man I think will lead Michigan in both yards and touchdowns. Deep ball threat, caught everything thrown to him down the field. I think you're going to see plenty of 40-yard catches from him, plus many of those getting into the end zone from Nico Collins. Not as good with the as strong as DPJ. Get the ball in his hands after the catch. And Tarik Black is an unknown. Was better than both those players as a true freshman. Was the number 1 wide receiver in his first game against Florida. And really excelled in his first 2-3 games in his career before getting hurt. I believe it was in game 4 against Purdue in 17. Missed the first 7-8 games of 18 with another broken foot, so he's really kind of injured both of his feet for near season-ending injuries in 17 and 18. So I'm holding back I'm drinking less of the Kool-Aid on Tarik Black, because 2 straight years of injury. He hasn't played football, really, folks, since 2016 at this point. So that's a long time to be off from full-time duties. 35 catches, 450, 4 touchdowns. For Tarik Black is what I'm predicting. I don't think that's going to get it done to be an NFL level wide receiver after the 2019 season like I think he wants to be. But here are the projections of those 4 wide receivers. Nico Collins, number 1 wide receiver. Donovan People-Jones, Tarik Black, and Mike Danna. Let's take a look at what we got coming up here next, Alicia. Last year's wide receiving leaders. Go ahead and toss that up on screen after we take a look at these. So Nico Collins led the team in receiving yards last year, but DPJ led in catches. I think it'll be much of the same this coming season. Zach Gentry, 30 catches for 475 yards. And then Nick Eubanks, look how big of a drop-off it was last year. That's how little Michigan spread the ball around. And Nick Eubanks, I know other guys had more catches. I think Ronnie Bell and the former wide receiver Oliver Martin had more catches, but Nick Eubanks is 157 yards, was actually fourth best on the team last year. So that is the word on the wide receivers. I think it's pretty likely they all intend to leave if they have big seasons. I don't think it necessarily is likely that they all will, because I don't think they're going to be happy about the wide receiver, the draft position grades they're going to get after the 2019 season. Got a giveaway alert for you. We are presented by MyBookie. Chatsports.com/GoBlue will drop you right on the page to use the GoBlue promo code with MyBookie for all your sports betting needs this football season. And you can really start getting going right now. Who's going to win maybe the Heisman? Who's going to make the CFP? How many games will Michigan win? I think I saw it at 9.5. So you think Michigan goes 10-2? You can be rewarded with MyBookie financially. You sign up and deposit using our promo code GoBlue. You email promo@chatsports.com. We will give you either a free Michigan football maize jersey number 1 if you wear large. They're only available in large. So let me say that again. Only available in large. Email us promo@chatsports.com, or you can get the Jim Harbaugh Game Day Coaches shirt with the big black M in the middle, the Jordan Jumpman logo up on the top right of the jersey. Free. No question, no strings attached, no questions asked, as long as you sign up and make your first deposit as a new customer with MyBookie using promo code GoBlue. Leads us to this question. On the wide receivers, who will lead Michigan in touchdown catches? Touchdown catches from the wide receiving core. I guess, it doesn't have to be a wide receiver. It could be a tight end. It could be a running back. Unlikely. Could be Mike Danna still, right? Not listed on here. I've got the big three. Donovan People-Jones, Nico Collins, Tarik Black. Type D, Type N, Type T. Get the votes going. I want to see what you guys think, because never before in a season, I think, has the Michigan fan base been so torn on who the best receiver, who the number 1 receiver is. A lot of DPJ love, a lot of Nico Collins love, some Tarik Black love, and people, the Michigan media contingent that I try and stay a part of. I'm a Michigan football entertainer. The blog boys and such think Mike Danna is the second coming of Steve Breston or something like that. But if you haven't seen the Harbaugh Head Rumor Meter, 0 Harbaugh Heads means totally false, fake news. 1 Harbaugh Head means a small shred of truth. 2 Harbaugh Heads means people are talking 50-50. It's a rumor, and I can't confirm, can't deny. 3 Harbaugh Heads, like the NFL draft rumor I just talked about, means it's pretty likely. If we give it the 4 Harbaugh Heads, that means it is FACK, fact. That is how Jim Harbaugh spells it. That is how we spell it here. The Michigan Football Report from Chat Sports, and I am James Yoder. And if you're watching this show, you're not following me on Twitter, that means you just don't trust our money-back guarantee or something like that, because there's no downside. You're on Twitter, I'm sure, @James Yoder. I'm tweeting about Michigan football all the time. Very insightful stuff, by the way. I'm giving you a money-back guarantee. If you don't like what you see, money-back guarantee on what you paid to follow me. We guarantee that. So go ahead and do it today. Get into rumor number 2. Don Brown. This one's been kind of underreported out there. Got paid like a mother. Some straight cash homie. Don Brown might be pocketing $2 million a year should Michigan reach some lofty achievements as a team this year. 4 Harbaugh Heads on this one. This is just in the news category, I guess. It was put out there by the newspaper boys of Greater Michigan. They did one of those FOIA requests. Don Brown is going to make $1.5 million a year, guaranteed in 2019 as part of his new contract. $1 million of it is his salary, and then $500,000 of it is his contract retention bonus. So as long as he's the coach by start the year, he gets an extra $500K. Can make another $500K with incentive bonuses. If those bonuses are achieved and makes that $500K, he will be the 4th highest paid assistant coach in the country, barring any new contracts that come between now and the beginning of the season. Let's take a look at these bonuses. I don't think they're lined up properly with what Michigan should be going for this year. I like the top 4 in Big Ten in scoring defense, but shouldn't that be like top 2? Top total defense, shouldn't that be like top 2 or 3? And I get it, top 20 in scoring defense, but like Michigan has proven that Don Brown can do that. So these are kind of, I'm not sure if the bonuses are just showing up. So I think he'll hit most of these, but I'm really perturbed about that last one, $75,000 for wins 9, 10, 11, and 12. One, you shouldn't give him the same amount of dollars for win 9 as you do win 12. I think it should be like $5,000 for win 9, $10,000, $25,000 for win 10, and then like $150,000 for 11 and $350,000 for 12. Like, make it such a big jump to get to 11-1, 12-0 that it's impactful to him. If not, there's not much difference in his compensation between a 10-2 year and a 12-2 year. It'd be $150,000 or 12-0 year. It's 7.5% of his total comp should he hit those other bonuses. But take a look at the defense under Don Brown. Number 2 in the country last year after being number 1 for almost the entire year. You get smoked like a Marlboro in your last 2 games. You're going to drop out of that number 1 spot. Florida, Ohio State, bowl game, and of course the game. 2017 with 10 new starters, very impressive performance. 271 yards a game, number 3 in America. And then 2016, 262, is a little decimal point there, tied with Alabama in his first year as Michigan's defensive coordinator. And that was the second year in a row Don Brown had the number 1 defense in total yards, which is really, the standard for total for number 1 defense when they rate defenses. So 2 years in a row, 15-16, he had that at 15 at Boston College. But I want you guys to grade Don Brown in his 3 years as Michigan's DC. I guess I can give him an A-, but it feels kind of hollow of a grade. It feels like an A- with a curve or something like that, because he's 0-3 against Ohio State. He's gotten absolutely crushed his last 2 games as coach, as Michigan's defense coordinator. And that Penn State game in 2017 where Josh Gaddis was the wide receiver coach there, that still leaves a little bit of bad taste in my mouth. But I want to know from you guys, A, B, C, D, or F grade Don Brown in his 3 years as Michigan's defensive coordinator. I got a third rumor for you in our Michigan Football Report Rumors 3-pack. Mike Danna. Is it Danna? Is it Dana? I'm calling him Donna until proven otherwise. Is he over-delivering? That's what Jim Harbaugh said on his podcast earlier last week. And I guess it was last week, at this point. But is it true? I'm giving it 2 Harbaugh heads that people are talking, and I guess that person is Jim Harbaugh, but Jim Harbaugh is widely known for blowing smoke up the asses of the Michigan football fan base and just saying guys are doing awesome. I don't know if it's a motivational tactic or they caught him at the right time of the day, but Mike Danna, over-delivering by Jim Harbaugh, transferred to Michigan after being a first-team All-American according to Pro Football Focus. Not by anybody else, but first-team All-MAC by the coaches and media of the Mid-American Conference there at Central Michigan. First-team All-American with some big-time players that went on to the NFL draft. If he was really that good of a player, could have gone to the NFL draft, right? And so I'm not expecting him to be a transformational player for this Michigan football defense this year. But the fact that Jim Harbaugh says he's over-delivering, I'll give it at least a 2 Harbaugh head to show you what Jim Harbaugh is saying. I don't necessarily think that is the case, that he is over-delivering. But we'll see what the expectations are with this one. 2019 depth chart is looking like this for Michigan. Aiden Hutchinson, Kwity Paye on the outside, Carlo Kemp, Michael Dwumfor on the inside. Very thin on the inside. I think Hutchinson and Paye on the outside, Mike Danna can make a little bit of an impact there. But on the inside with Carlo Kemp and Mike Dwumfor, you are going to be 1 injury away from some serious concern there as a Michigan football team going into this 2019 season after you lost quite a bit. Rashawn Gary, you lost Aubrey Solomon, and haven't really developed as well as you would have liked. But one of you guys, do you own a Michigan football jersey? Do you own one? Do you have one hanging up in your closet? Do you wear it? Type 1 if yes, just if you own one, of course. Type N if no, you don't own one. I've never been a jersey guy. I always kind of thought grown men wearing a jersey looked kind of weird. So I didn't get one of these big jerseys that are hanging down here like I've seen some folks wear. If you do, no problem there. But I wasn't a jersey guy. 2 years ago, I bought my first Michigan jersey since I was a kid. The Maze jersey. Really like it. Got the old number 1 on that bad boy. I wear it. Wore it to the Final Four. Wore it to games in the 17 and the 18 season. So type 1 for yes. Type 2 for no if you wear a Michigan football jersey. And want to ask you guys to go ahead and follow me on Twitter at James Yoder. Money back guarantees, I've said before, you won't regret it. And if you're on Twitter, you're a Michigan football fan, you're watching this show. There's a reason you're watching this show, and it's probably because you were so fed up with the absolutely slimy media in the greater Detroit area, Ann Arbor media, that you're stuck with. I listened to one of these radio shows, the host on WAKT, whatever it was, a couple days ago. These guys are so boring. The host sounded like he was out of breath. I feel sorry for people who live in Ann Arbor, but thanks to the Michigan Football Report, you have an entertaining show like this. And we thank you for watching, so go ahead and follow me on Twitter, see what's going on with us there. Keep it moving. Rumor number 4. I'm putting this one in the rumor category. 2 Harbaugh heads. No more grad transfers for Michigan. There's a tweet out there that we'll show here in just a second that I'm putting 2 Harbaugh heads because people are talking, okay? And I think that Rick Dunaway has had some interesting insights on Michigan football, but he has also jumps to Rick. I know you're going to watch. Appreciate it. You've jumped to conclusions in the past, nevertheless. So you maybe have some insight, info. I think you said your friend told you about this, who's connected to the Michigan football program. Let's take a look at the tweet by formerly Rick Dunaway. I think he lost his password, so to create a new account. Now pay the troll tax to you OSU and Michigan State haters. $5 per troll. You've got to hit Rick on the Cash App if you troll him. So make sure you're coming with your wallet if you interact with him there. But he's got a string of numbers as his new Twitter profile. But it says, it's funny Michigan's not recruiting any grad transfers. And he's kind of talking about Michigan basketball down 4 scholarships next year under Juwan Howard coming in. And Michigan football. Rick's been pushing for Michigan to pull in a grad transfer running back this year, given that maybe the best player on the roster is an injured true freshman. So his friend said, still no more grad transfers coming from the president, the admissions department, and that the school is cracking down. Harbaugh is pissed off. I'm giving it 2 Harbaugh heads. We'll see what comes of this one. If it's true, you can thank Rick for being the authority on Michigan football rumors. If it's false, then it's just a tweet out there in the atmosphere that we're not thinking about anymore. But that is the word for Rick Dunaway on transfers. And with this, I put this one on Twitter a few weeks ago, maybe Instagram, whatever it was. I got some awesome responses. Mine, it's tough to say, but right now, first Michigan football player I think of is, it's tough to Shea Patterson, honestly. It probably was right there. But I'm kind of talking about historically. You could do a player now. You could do a player back then. I think when I answered on Twitter, it was Tyrone Wheatley or something like that. Most people will say Charles Woodson. Some will say Breon Edwards and others. But just right now, the first Michigan football player you think of, type it below in the comments. Watching here on YouTube, let me know. I was really interested to see what players have the most memory impact to you, the Michigan Football Report audience. Next up, big time rumor, a little bit underreported. I swear, these local media guys, they're very lazy, by the way. They're very boring. And this is a big story, in my opinion, and they're barely talking about it. I haven't seen barely any articles out there. Certainly no wonderful shows like this. So is this the end of overseas trips for Michigan? He went in 2017, went in 2018, went in 2019 to Europe twice, South Africa. I'm giving this one 3 Harbaugh heads because I think there's some mindset change with Jim Harbaugh. I'm not sure if he's sick of people saying, take a trip to Indianapolis instead of taking a trip to South Africa. But we're going to show you some quotes here in a second from Jim Harbaugh. And after taking a trip to Rome, after taking a trip to Paris in 2017-18, giving some Jordans to the Pope, Jim Harbaugh was asked recently, I believe it was on his podcast, about next year's trip. And this is the 2 quotes he had. You see there on the screen. I'd like to go to Washington, D.C. Visit the Supreme Court. Visit the Halls of Congress, the Smithsonian, the Holocaust Museum. Gettysburg is an option there. Geographically, you could do both of them, right? Not too far from Michigan either, but Gettysburg, D.C., within a few-hour drive from each other. He also said, we may someday go to San Diego and train with a SEAL team, then go to Pearl Harbor from there. I bet the Michigan football team would like to go to Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, as far as leisure than they would to go to Rome and stuff. A lot easier to plan when you know, and this is where it's interesting. Here's where it's interesting. These trips are a lot easier to plan when you know your players won't get into any trouble on them. Jim Harbaugh on his future travel plan. So, I'm a read between the lines kind of guy. I'm a read between the lines kind of guy. And when he says when players won't get into trouble on them, that kind of means to me that maybe there was some trouble. Maybe on the last trip they made, maybe to the South Africa trip. We'll see if anything ever comes to that. I doubt it, but he wouldn't have said that unless there potentially was some validity to it. But Michigan football is 6, 7, 8 weeks away. You're going to be watching the Middle Tennessee State game at 7 o'clock, 7:30 at night if you're on the East Coast. You're going to watch the Army game next week at noon. Either one is acceptable, even if you're on the Pacific Coast watching Michigan football, to drink a beer. So what's your favorite beer to drink while watching Michigan football? I'm going to go with a Modelo. It's been like the 24 packs we've been picking up at Costco for the last couple years, and it just seems to be the beer that's in the fridge. I drink it. If they're winning, I probably drink less. If they're losing, I pile on if I'm not at the game. But I want to know from you guys. Comment below. Here in the Michigan Football Report, what's your favorite beer to drink while watching Michigan football? And as we go into the 2019 season, I am hooking you up. MyBookie, presenting sponsor of the Michigan Football Report here on Chat Sports, has worked with us to give you guys an amazing Michigan football giveaway. You sign up and deposit. Make your first deposit with MyBookie, the sports book. You email us, promo@chatsports.com. Once you do, and we'll just get a few pieces of information from you, and you can get a jersey, the Mays Jordan jersey, not one of these knockoffs, the Mays Jordan jersey, in large only. Let me repeat that, in large only. It's the only size that's available for that jersey anymore. Very low stock, but we're going to give you guys all the ones that we have, or you can get the Harbaugh Game Day shirt. The website's the bottom of the screen, so screenshot it now, write it down, chatsports.com/GoBlue. You'll get redirected right to MyBookie, and the promo code GoBlue will be populated. So don't make any mistakes, chatsports.com/GoBlue. Promo code GoBlue, then email us, promo@chatsports.com. We will send you the choice of the large, #1 Mays Michigan Football Jordan jersey or the Harbaugh Game Day long sleeve Michigan shirt. All right, next up, Urban Meyer launches a podcast. You see, we've got a podcast down there. A little redirect link for you, chatsports.com/Yoder. You can watch this show on your iPhone. Take it on the go. You can minimize it and press play and still listen to it in the background, and many of you do. But now Urban Meyer is trying to get in the podcast game, and it's one of these just humorous things because it's a podcast on leadership and building teams and ethical behavior and all the things that Urban Meyer is walking into getting made fun of by opposing fan bases. But it's for Harbaugh Heads. It just launched last Wednesday. What was the 10th of July? Urban Meyer is doing a podcast, which seems to me like a sponsored thing. If you look at this, the Focus 3 podcast with Urban Meyer and Tim Knight, founder of Focus 3, whatever the hell that is. I'm sure this Tim Knight is a big-time fanboy of Ohio State. Knight launched the podcast 2.5 years ago or so, and his first episode with new podcast host Urban Meyer launched last Wednesday, the July 10th. 4 Harbaugh Heads, they did it. But here's the call to action for everyone. As soon as you're done watching the show, and we're wrapping it up here in a few minutes, you're going to talk to you guys about some very interesting stuff here in a moment. As soon as you're done with the show, go to the Apple Podcast app. It's also on the Google Podcast app. Also on, I believe they're putting it on YouTube as well. Give it a 1-star rating because it matters a lot. Let's flood Urban Meyer's podcast with 1-star ratings. Make sure that he knows if you launch a podcast and James Yoder and the glorious Michigan football fans that watch this program find out about it, we're flooding you with 1-star ratings. So go give him a 1-star rating and just type something in the comment section like, why didn't your wife tell you that Zach Smith was beating up his wife? Something like that. Just like make him known that Michigan football has not had you haven't heard the last of Michigan football, Urban, after you snaked out of town and not giving Jim Harbaugh the opportunity to get revenge on you for those 4 ass kickings you put on him. But nevertheless, that is the podcast, the Focus 3 podcast with Urban Meyer and Tim Knight. Go listen if you want, 1-star for sure. Thanks so much for watching the Michigan Football Report, folks. Appreciate everything you guys do for us. Want to give you some more shows to watch here from the Michigan Football Report on this 2019 team. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and click this button right here. Subscribe to the channel. We'll be back with a new show in a few days, and go Blue.